if negative 9/5 is less than negative 3t plus 1, which is less than negative 7/4, what is one possible value of 9t minus 3? You could, in theory, solve this inequality for t and then kind of figure out the possibilities for 9t minus 3 based off of that, but that's annoying. Let's instead note that this expression here, negative 3t plus 1, can be transformed into 9t minus 3 if we multiply this by negative 3. If we multiply this by negative 3, it'll become 9t minus 3. So let's do that, but like any equation or inequality, what we do to one side, we have to do to, in this case, the other two sides. So we have to multiply everything here by negative 3. So this is going to become negative 3 times negative 9/5 gets us 27/5. But remember, here's a little important note. When you multiply an inequality by a negative or divide by a negative, you have to switch the sign. So this becomes a greater than sign. This becomes, as we said, 9t minus 3. This sign is going to flip to become greater than. And then we do negative 7/4 times negative 3. Right, we're multiplying everything here by negative 3. It's going to get us 21/4. So our 9t minus 3, we can go ahead and grid in any value between these two fractions. So I would probably figure out what this is as a decimal, figure out what this is as a decimal, and then grid in a decimal. So let's just do that. 21 divided by 4 is 5.25. 27 divided by 5 is 5.4. So any decimal between these values, not equal to them, but between them, would work here. Okay, and an inequality question here. Not something you would normally see very often on the old SAT, particularly the notion of flipping the inequality signs. I don't think I've ever seen that, maybe once on an old SAT question. So pretty rare, but ultimately, again, if you've done this in math class, you'll be well equipped to handle this one. Though there is that little twist, that SAT-style twist of seeing that I can transform this expression into this one by multiplying by negative 3. That's something that we've seen on the SAT before. So that's a little bit of a wrinkle, but otherwise, I don't think it's too hard as long as you remember the rules, right? So it's a lot of this test is much more straightforward in terms of the math. If you remember what you did in math class, you'll be fine for a lot of these questions. That's just how they're changing this test. Compare that to the old SAT, which sure, it used math concepts, but it was much more about problem solving. A little bit less the case for this version of the SAT.